Hey, what's happening, everybody, man? I just jumped on here for a little lunchtime cup of tea just to see what's going on. Listen, man, I just seen an article in the Mississippi Jambalaya, and it was just talking about a few things. First thing I want to address right now is I know they had Family Day up at MDOC, and the thing is, I don't know how it went because I really hadn't checked with anybody. But for real, it don't even really matter. What the thing I was when they put the article out in MDOC's paper, I noticed that it had Catwoman's this job title, and it specifically said uh, MadCore that she worked for. So why is she still a gatekeeper for the different people that come in, like Kairos and all the different people who want to come in for religious service? She doesn't have the the job title to do that. She doesn't have the uh, training to do that. And she doesn't work for MDOC, she works for MadCore. So I was just wondering about that, so I wanted to like touch on that first. And then, we saying that we don't have any money to fix the problems at Unit 29. We don't have any money to fix the problems at Unit 30 or all the different problems across the state. We don't have enough money to rectify the food problem where they're feeding the guys undernourished meals. So we don't have anything we don't have any money to do those things to make those necessary adjustments. But yet and still, we got money to build a new barn at MDOC and bring 25 horses that needs to be fed, groomed, cared for, veterinary expenses. So you're putting more money into the care of some animals that you're bringing up to MDOC than you are in caring for the offenders who are at the hospital, for the offenders who are at Unit 31, and for your elderly and sick people who are throughout the Mississippi Department of Correction, specifically at Parchman where the hospital is, where Unit 42 is. You're not putting any money to getting that place cleaned up. Families and offenders are still complaining about the smell that's there uh, at Unit 29 at the hospital. And so I really want just where is our focus for? They say if you follow the money, man, you'll find the crook. All you have to do is step back and look. Follow the money, and you'll find the crook. All you got to do is step back and look. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is, why are we buying brand new lights for a horse barn when you got several lights out that's on 29 Division 2 side in G building and L building, improperly lit when officers go through there upstairs throughout the unit, H building. You know what I mean? You're putting new lights in a horse barn and to make sure that they have adequate light, that an animal have adequate light, and you're starting a so-called horse training program there. What about a reentry program? That horse training program going to be for offenders to learn and a skill? And where is he going to take that skill once he get out? That's what, even though I know it's not for the offenders to be a part of. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure it's for the Mississippi Highway Patrolmen and their so-called horse horse squad or for a search and rescue mission for them. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just wondering where you getting this money from if we don't have any money, so to speak, in MDOC. That's one part of the money trail. The other part, like I told you, for those of you who just joined, I was just talking about. If you look at the ad that they posted from Family Day on I think it was the beginning of this week, beginning of last week, after they had Family Day, you'll see Catwoman's job description. Her job description says MadCore. It's printed in the paper in black and white. I'm sure they couldn't print anything, so why is she the gatekeeper for people coming into the spiritual life center and people coming into the churches and coming in to set, for the ministers to be there? So, why is that still happening? You know what I mean? Why is that still happening? Why is she on a memo? And I'll post it soon. I'll post it real soon. I know y'all think that memo don't exist, but sometimes people take it upon themselves to think that they're above the law, sort of like Chris Epps was doing. You know what I mean? When he was there in that seat, same place at MDOC, or when he was a commissioner, not the superintendent. When he was a commissioner, he think that he's above the law, and so now he's sitting and watching everything take place from the cell of a federal prison. Now, the real money trail is that when the commissioner came on in 2020, I think we had what was the name of the healthcare provider that we had before that. Anyway, long story short, they terminated their service, whether by force or whatever. But they came in and we did an emergency contract. We did an emergency memo for a 1-year contract with Vitalcorp in 2020, from January 2020 to I guess the end of the fiscal year or however they do it for a 1-year contract. We paid Vitalcorp $56 million in 2020. From 2020, so now you got a whole year to do an RFP, a request for purchase, and contract out to different medical service provider. How you doing, Steve? For MDOC that's going to do a job, actually do a job. Because Vitalcorp ain't doing nothing but letting offenders die, falsifying documents, refusing to treat people, refusing to get them their medication. That's the only thing Vitalcorp doing. But they're getting the money. You know what I mean? They in 2020 they were given 56 million. They did another emergency memo after you didn't find nobody for a whole year, knowing that you was going to have to provide medical service for all your elderly patients, all your sick patients, all your mental patients, all the way across the board at MDOC who are incarcerated. So it went from 56 million in 2020 to 66 million in 2021 to 99 million in 2022, and I think 2023 it was well over 100 and something million. It's almost triple in a 3-year span, but you don't have any money. So I think it's 100 million. It's 100 million for this year, in which in 2023, in which only 82 million of that has been paid by the state. So they're providing less services than they were in 2020 and the previous contract. So why is it that our medical bill for Vitalcorp has almost doubled within the last 2 or 3 years? So who are lining their pockets with kickback? Show me the money. You know what I mean? You got guys falling out because they can't get, especially when COVID came through. You know what I mean? You talking about 56 million. You talking about 56 million in the height of the COVID pandemic, during the COVID-19 pandemic. Even with everybody, all the staff and the offenders getting all that shot, for 2020, it was only 56 million, with no more shots being administered in 2022 and in 2021. So, but it went up 10 million from 2020 to 2021 to 66 million. Why did it go up 10 million? You know what I mean? What did they do? You still got offenders dying. You still got offenders dying at Unit 31 all across the state. But right now, I'm specifically talking about Vitalcorp at the major institutions, CMCL, SMCI, and Parchment. You know what I mean? You got men and women who are dying. A young lady died in the back of 720, in the back of MCIW, by herself from an infection, from being septic. You know what I mean? So what is Vitalcorp doing? Who's holding Vitalcorp's feet to the fire, and who's holding them responsible? And I like to see an itemized statement. You know what I mean? They need to make public immediately an itemized statement of why it went up. You know what I mean? Over 80%, and why or where are these expenses coming from? Because it's showing because 42 clean and they're providing a quote unquote outstanding care. It's showing not because they're getting the medicine to the guys who rightfully deserve the medicine at MDOC who are incarcerated and are sick. You know what I mean? We got all these elderly patients that you're that need to go home, that need to be at home on hospice care and spend their last days with their with their family, but you're keeping them there and not providing them the care. MDOC and Vital Corps, you know what I mean? You're shooting down these people. You're shooting down their compassionate releases or their medical releases, and you're forcing them to die in prison. Yet and still, you want a doctor to cause of death as to why they're dying in prison. You know what I mean? So please just tell me why. I want y'all to think about that. I want y'all to think about that. The whole budget for the parole and probation department is something like 22 million. So hey, what's up, Nicole? So we're giving Volacor 2020 56 million, an increase of 10 million, which is for the whole staff for probation officer around the state. Uh, an extra 10 million in 2021, and then upwards of 80 something million in 2022. And then, like I said, last year it was 100 million, but only the state has only paid 82 million of that. But yet and still, we don't have money. We don't have money for guys to get their heart medicine. You got a guy that they told that he was terminal, and Grace Fisher denied his paperwork. The communication specialist, not the commissioner, not Blevins. You know what I mean? After the doctors said, okay, make sure you tag me in so I can share. Not the doctors, not the person, not the people at UMMC that said that he was terminal and that he had maybe a year to live. You just denied Derek Bryce compassionate relief when you can't keep his medicine. You know what I mean? His pacemaker is jumping off because it has to be adjusted every so many months because of the condition that he has. He's passed out several times in the unit, but yet and still his paperwork was denied by Grace Fisher. You know what I mean? Or so the family said. Now, I'm not sure if she was just the communication that relayed the message to the family, but still, why the commissioner couldn't call? But yet and still, you're letting different people out. You're letting somebody like James William out who reoffended and he's back out again. You know what I mean? And so that's another issue with the parole board that I'm going to address real soon with Belk and all the different people who are on the parole board. You know what I mean? You're not accepting these people's packages for you to ease the overcrowding. And like I said, you said that you're understaffed. You can't be understaffed in the medical department because you're overpaid. There's no way you can be overpaid and understaffed in the medical department. So how are you saying that there's not enough people, that you can't employ enough people, Vitacor? More people from Vitacor have been released across the state from Vitacor being corrupt and bringing in contraband than any officers across the state. Look it up. You ain't got to take my word for it. Look it up. More people in Vitacor have been let go or given a slap on the wrist for bringing in contraband and or sleeping with inmates than than the amount of officers that you have across the state. So my thing is, what are you paying for? What are you paying them for? You're paying them to bring in extra contraband in the state? What are you paying them for? You know what I'm saying? So how you go from 56 million to 100 million in 3 years, but yet and still you don't have any money? Have you seen the food trades across the state? And we're gonna deal with merchant another day. That's another contract that you're doing emergency contracts with on a yearly basis when you can find a distributor. When your food prices are going up, your food prices went up over 70% from 2020 to now. The quality of food that you're giving them on the canteen or commissary, as we call it, or it has went down. You're getting a cheaper version, but you're charging them a higher price. The same way with GTL, with the phone service. You're getting poor quality, the reception on the phone service, but you're charging them a higher price. Look at the contract with the tablets that the state making. Look at the contract with the tablets and see how much the state is getting kickback for. But yet and still, where is the money going? It's not going to the clothes because the MadCorps making the clothes, but your officers won't pass them out. You got warehouses full of clothes and they won't distribute the clothes like they're supposed to be. You're getting the clothes, but you won't pass them out. You know what I'm saying? So how can we keep on doing the same thing? And then these are somebody's son, these are somebody's father. You got people that's been locked up over 40 years, man. I was just at a conference with the Mississippi Five. These women have been locked up since 1982. You're supposed to bring them up for parole every year. The nature of the crime is not going to change. They haven't had an RVR. We're talking about having had an RVR in over 25, 30 years. These same five women been locked up since 82, before, when they had the parole, and all of them should have been out on parole. Not just those five. We're talking about Frank Jackson. We're talking about Frank and Lima. We're talking about Sleepy down there at CMCL, Mac Watts, people who are not going to reoffend, that are not going to reoffend, haven't had an RVR in over 25 years, but yet and still. Derek Vincent, man, Jerry Metatone, the nature of their crime is not going to change. What about the staff, your staff who have killed inmates over the years, who never did a time or a day in jail, but yet and still, you know what I mean? You're right. And some of them, you got so many men and women that's been in prison longer than half of the officers there have been alive. You know what I mean? Frank Jackson's in a wheelchair, can't hurt anybody, but yet and still you giving him subpar medical care and deny him parole. You send him off. You set a 73-year-old man off for 8 years. For what? No excuse. You set a 73-year-old man off for 8 years when life expectancy is only 6 to 8 years for a male in the state of Mississippi. But you set a 73-year-old man off for 8 years, so you're basically telling him that you're going to put him in that pauper's grade that you have out there at Parchman, at MDOC. Not to mention that before that cemetery, there was a cemetery right behind where CID is now at Parchman. There was a cemetery out past 32 first, back in the day where they got the old hanging tree. You know what I mean? And all of them have been raised over. If you want to find out how people take care of their living, just watch how they take care of their dead. If they're raised over graves for the dead, they don't give a damn about the people in the living, because one day they're going to put them in the ground out there and they're going to raise over him, then plant crops over him. You know what I mean? So you just think about that. I just want you to look at some of the pictures. I want you to go on Hope Dill's page and look at some of the pictures. Go on some of the prison reform page here in Mississippi, and then look at some of the pictures of the food trays that they pass out. Look at the trucks that they haul the food from one part of MDOC to the other part. You got an ambulance door on the truck like it's an emergency. You got flies in the back of the trucks during the summertime. You got no air conditioning with the inmates riding on the back, and the trays are bouncing all around. Food is wasted everywhere. You waste it. You pull it out when you pull up at 29 in the back dock. You put it off. You set the food on the dock out there where the flies to get to it. So I just want people to I want you to just think about this. If this was your son or daughter who was incarcerated, and he was there, or let's just say your son at Unit 29, and he's waiting on his food on Division 2 side, the truck gets loaded at 26 wherever they fix the food, or at 30, depending on where they fix the food, and they take it out in the truck. I'm gonna post a picture of the truck. When you see this truck with an ambulance door on it, with 3 mixed match tires on it, you know what I'm saying, with no air conditioner, but you put the food on the back of there in 100-degree weather, and you take it out Unit 29 with the back back gate up, with the back door of it up, flies everywhere, all kind of bugs, and you take the food out there, you put it on the back dock, you unload it, the guys unload it whenever they get it there, and then it sits on the back dock for an hour. It's supposed to be at a certain temperature now. We're talking about serve safe temperature. Then you take it out to the back. Then you got to distribute it and count how many needs to go to L building, how many needs to go to J building, how many needs to go to H building, how many needs to go to G building. Then how many people you need to put, you line them up in the kitchen and you feed them and you let C and F come and eat, by unit. So the food is ice cold, man. You talking about hot food. And don't nobody want no cold grits. Don't nobody want no cold sandwich. Not less than a month ago when at Unit 29, they told people they didn't even have any trays and they didn't have any silver. They didn't even have any silverware. So they fed the dudes sandwiches and told them they could get some vegetables if they brought their own bowl. You can get some vegetables if you bring your own bowl. You bring me a piece of meat, two pieces of bread, and I can get some vegetables if I bring my bowl to the chow hall. You know what I mean? So what about the guys who can't leave in L building, H building, and J building and go to the dining facility? H can leave, B zone and A zone, but G, H, J, and L can't leave and go to the chow hall. What about those people when they serve sandwich? What did they give them for vegetables? But like I just said, now you're getting ready to build a new barn out there at 25. You got 25 horses that don't belong to the state that you got to feed. You put new lights. You know what I mean? Man, you got CMCF. You're exactly right. With a warehouse with 75 brand new tires. Do you know the cost of it? Do you know what the state charges or companies charges the state for tires? Man, you got brand new tires sitting in the warehouse, but you won't get any new trays or any. They got trays, man, that has water in the bottom that you can heat the water up and they'll stay hot until you transport them. So you got brand new tires out there. You got vehicles. You got golf carts lined up out there, and so much excess stuff that you done paid money for that's sitting back there, but you won't give it to. You pick and choose who you want to give a car to. I just chewed my partner out last week on here, and I'm still waiting to hear from him about Pastor King. Yeah, I'm gonna just touch on you for one more time because man, I'm telling you, man, come up out of her. Babylon is falling. You know what I'm saying? You talking about they bought two $8,000 horse, so it's 25 out there. Let's just say all of them cost 8,000 a piece. Who's gonna feed them? How are you gonna feed them? Because one thing about it, who's going to pay for the vet bill? Violacore going to take care of horses too? You know what I mean? I guarantee you that those horses are going to get excellent. They're going to get excellent medical care. They're going to get better medical care than the inmates who are at Unit 31, 29, or at MDOC. Period. I guarantee you the horse is going to get better care than them. You got brand new lights. When I told you all the lights on the visit, man, I know. Grew up in the country, right outside of there. They're a horse barn, so taking the horse back and forth to the vet is not cheap. Warming them or doing whatever is not cheap. Feeding them is not cheap. You know what I mean? So you got brand new lights, these high halogen lights that you got in a horse barn that you're keeping out there, but we don't have any money. Man, look at the food. Look at the food. Look at the tray. You know what I mean? And as soon as he leave, he gonna pack up and take them horses with him, which they ain't got no business on state ground anyway. You know what I mean? They don't have any business out there. You need to be putting that money, man, down there on Division 2. You need to be putting that money on Unit 30, making it safer. You need to be putting that money on some reentry programs or some counseling programs where people can get help with their substance abuse, man. That's $10 million where you could have brought in outside help to get people some more methadones to have on there, some better masks and gloves to protect the officers when they go down and respond to a body alarm and go down, and so they won't have to come in contact uh, 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 um, with these drugs that are making them sick. You know what I'm saying? Why did you bring cigarettes back when the law clearly says that there's Mississippi was sued for secondhand smoke? Yet and still you bring cigarettes back because you said, quote unquote, it's a way to take the power from the gangs. Well, to me, if you look at the amount of contraband that was being found in the early 2000s and the 90s, if you look at the pictures, look at the pictures of the amount of contraband being found now. So, what I'm saying, I'd rather for them to be selling cigarettes, but for them to be selling hardcore drugs. You know what I'm saying? Like heroin, you know what I mean? Crystal meth, and all the different drugs that you see now. Man, watch some of the videos now. You know, they're not going to invest in rehabilitation because as long as they keep those offenders under some type of substance abuse, then you can better control them, and then they're not going to come together. They're not going to come together, man, and stand up for themselves. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to come together. Who's getting the kickback on the cigarettes? You know what I mean? I like to see how many cigarettes we sell in, how many cigarettes we sell across the state. The amount of packs of cigarettes that we sell across the state. And when you shake them down, you take their cigarettes, you can tell them they can buy so many per store. And I've seen you take, when a guy want to buy it, just in case they do, you know, you take the cigarettes from them, and then you give them to all your rats and snitches that are across the compound, different thing, if he got too many. But you sold them to him. Man, I have so many dudes, man, that had their receipt. Every week they bought cigarettes and they were putting them up. They didn't have a store. They were just buying them in case they went off. You know what I mean? Man, they taking orders for cigarettes on paper at Unit 29, all the way across. You know what I mean? And so you think about this. You take 20 packs from a guy, you give him 5 back, but yet and still you give them to your people, your special detail, and people that work for you at 29, at 30, and all that. You know what I mean? So man, that's a lot of issues, man. I just jumped on for a minute because that money thing with Vitalcore blew my mind. And I want to know why we're not doing a request for purchase for medical service to extend out at least 2 years to see. And then there's a better group. I can't think of the name right now. Is it Metron or Metrex? Anyway, they had a better rating, provided better quality of service. Why weren't they chosen? Why was it Vitalcore? You know what I'm saying? Why was it Vitalcore? Why they're so insistent on giving them the 1-year emergency medical contract? Why not let people bid on them and then look at them? You took the whole bid process out. We're talking about we're 4 years in now. Getting ready to go on our 5th year. We're 4 years in. So why you have to do 4 emergency contracts? An emergency is just that, an emergency. You did the 1-year contract. During that time, why didn't you put out a bid, a solicitation for a bid for other medical companies to come in? You know what I mean? And so why doesn't MDOC create their own medical department and train people and hire the necessary personnel to do that? Why would you outsource a contract that's going to cost you twice as much as it would if you had those people as officers, if you hired them yourself? It don't make sense. It don't make sense. It don't make sense. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's the Louisiana model. This is not Louisiana. This ain't gumbo country, man. This fried catfish country. You know what I'm saying? It's fried catfish country. You know, you can't bring the medical model that you had down here to Mississippi. It's a whole different thing. You can't bring the NOBTS Christian model, and I'm a Christian, but I understand the dynamics of incarceration because I spent 23 years behind the wall. The dynamics of incarceration is everybody don't ascribe to be a Christian. What are we going to do about the guys who choose to be Muslim? What are we going to do about the guys who choose to be Jehovah's Witness? What are we going to do about the guys who choose to be non-denominational, but still want to worship God in their own way? They don't count. You're building churches. Why haven't you built a mosque at CMCF or somewhere and had a religious program designed just like you got the one from NOBTS? They got Islam universities out of Chicago, out of New York. The same way that you can come in and you built a church, you can build a mosque so these people can have the necessary training and find their way for worshiping God in the way that they want to do. You know what I mean? But we're getting all these donations to keep building churches. The more churches go up, man, even though church is supposed to be a service for the community, I want to know why the more churches go up, the less the population is being cared for. You send George down there to train the field minister, but then as soon as he leaves, you won't let them do their job. Man, Glenn, Golden, and all them dudes that are down there, Man, there are good people that you can let them work if you let them do their job. You know, they can teach classes. Glenn is a nurse. He was a nurse on the street. He can run a hospice, and you don't want to let the elderly people go under the auspices of you want to enhance your hospice program. Man, let them people go home. And the ones who don't want to go home or don't have nowhere to go, there's enough of them in there that don't have anywhere to go. But there's enough of them that's got family that love them and want them home. Man, they got a young lady been coming to see her husband for 42 years and only missed one day, one visiting day. We talking about 42 years. I can't think of her name, man. What's up, soldier? Man, always on the battlefield. You got a lady that came to see her husband 42 years, man. The man been sick, but she's been coming to see him faithfully for 42 years. But you keep setting him off for 3 years, 5 years, and the man haven't had an RVR in over 28 years, man. 28 years. You know what I mean? So he's one of the ones that you don't need to keep in and let him die inside of the wall with his loved one, with his wife, with that bond that God, that joined before God bond, keeps her strong enough to uh, 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 come see him straight, consistently for 42 years without missing a visit, well, one visit in 42 years. She's been there every week. Like you said, the officers got bets. Who's going to be the first person there to visit their loved one on his visiting day? And she hasn't been second to anybody in 40 something years. You know what I'm saying? In 40 something years. But you won't let her husband make parole. The man is a great worker, but you know, I won't mention his name just because I don't have permission, but I'm gonna call her today because I want to talk about him and some of the people that work for. You got the dude Kimball that makes the welder, the best welder in the state that makes everything that they have at SMCI, Walnut Grove, all the institutions. He makes it. All the stuff you see in Washington D.C. A lot of stuff he's made stuff they send to Washington D.C. He got a book where he creates stuff. He's been working in the welding shop, but you won't let him make it. Kimball, is it Tony Kimball? Tommy Kimball? You know what I'm saying? The man is the best welder in the state, man, but you won't let him make parole. Why? Because he's making you money. But you still charging him to live. You still charging him to live at Unit 28. He has to pay rent to live at 28 to make you barbecue grill, to make you a product that you sell on MadCore's website, on MDOC's website. Man, you just think about that for a minute. If that's not the same as slave labor, then what is it? What else is it, man? You know what I'm saying? That's all I wanted to add. You know, this man, that shit, man. Excuse me for cussing today. I just, I just want y'all to think about from 56 million 1 year emergency contract. We ain't even talking about the budget for the state. When you go, man, go and watch some of those. Go on YouTube and watch some of those Senate hearings and hear Blevins lie, spin the truth, and saying what we're doing, and talk about what kind of great program they're doing. They're not even screening anybody for the TAPE test. So tell them to cut that lie out. They're not even assessing where a person comes in at and what he needs to do. So you can cut that lie out. You know, you can tell them I said it. Ain't nobody taking no TAPE test. So when you get up before the Senate here and tell them, well, we're screening them when they come in, but they're taking the TAPE. Man, I was at CMCL when you didn't even pay the bill. The guys took their GED. You didn't even pay the bill for them to have their test graded. You know what I'm saying? So you're not giving anybody the TAPE test. You know, so stop the lying, man. Stop getting before these people. And Barnett, I don't know what kind of lies that you keep on, or the election committee, Chad White. I don't know what the hell y'all doing, man. But you got so many people that are telling you, man, all you got to do yourself is follow the money. You don't want to follow the money, what you doing? You're getting kicked back. You know what I mean? But you worry about who gets a vehicle. And you got a woman, man, that basically gave her life to keeping up with all the equipment, tracking it down to make sure it's everywhere. But you tell her she can't even, you got her picture at the front gate like she done committed a crime. Man, that in itself is criminal. But when Dr. Lundy come through, when she gets caught sleeping with an offender, this is one of the people who was supposed to be part of your reentry team that was supposed to do. This is what I don't understand. Back on you again, Pastor. George, my brother King. How you create a system, reentry university, where your reentry go up from 33% to over 75%. You create all these programs, but then when you leave and transfer to another job, why do they have to hire 3 to 5 people to do what you were doing? But yet and still, they take your model and try to put it in play, but you can't put it in play because you're the author, because you're the creator. There's no way that you can take my program and do what I done because I'm the author of that reentry program. There's no way you can take my trauma. They haven't done trauma. They haven't did trauma since I left MDOC. You know what I'm saying? So, so why? Man, trauma and ACEs are a big thing, a big part of why people are incarcerated in the first place. So I'm just wondering why, uh, you know, you got Miss Beverly can't even go in, but her picture's at the front gate. But yet and still, you got Miss London who got caught in a relationship with an offender. Picture is not up. She's allowed to come back in and drive in not once but twice to bring a package in to an offender inside the fence. You drove all the way through, not one gate. They got two gates at CMCF. So she's able to go through 2 gates at CMCF and go all the way around by the apartments over on the big yard and then get caught. But you still don't go to jail. You know what I mean? You got your get out of jail free card because of the color of your skin. It's simple as that. Man, that's enough of my time, man. I'll be back with you this evening, man. I'm gonna go dig into this money thing. Follow the money trail. Follow the money trail. Why is there 2 premier companies? Both of them in Flowood. Both of them a few miles apart. One has contract. You know what I mean? One has contract. Uh, Allegedly supposed to be to fix the maintenance inside. Look at their pay. One does the commissary. One is for contracts. Why do we have 2 premier on our payroll? Man, what are you doing, correction committee? What are you doing, correction committee? You know what I'm saying? They put it out there in black and white, but we won't read through the line. The same way on Family Day, the same way you got a memo floating that says that that Catwoman is the gatekeeper for everybody that comes in the spiritual life at Parchment. But in black and white, you say that she worked for MadCorp. Nepotism, nepotism, nepotism. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. Who's handling the inmate banking? Man, so who's got their hand in the cookie jar? Check for the crumbs. Check the crumbs around their mouth. Who's got the kickback? I gotta go, man. I gotta go. Yeah. Y'all take care, man. Be blessed, man. Thank you for tuning in. Leave me a comment. Leave me a comment. You know what I mean? If you're watching this, yes, sir. Go ahead, Nicole. Get your message out there. Yep. Y'all reach out to Miss Nicole, if you're formerly incarcerated, or if you're a family of an incarcerated person, or you want to drop us some tea. Inbox Miss Nicole. You know what I mean? Y'all take care, man. Miss Beverly, you be good. Everybody else, Swift, I see you. Thank you for stopping by. Everybody else, Grimes, everybody, man, share it. Share it. Go to my YouTube channel, Sell with Sipping, man, and subscribe. And subscribe to the channel. Take care. All right?